it was like it was just an A to B. Didn't drink, no problems.
Yeah.
Did drink, it was like I was sleeping harder or something or peeing easier, and I would just wake up and I'd be like, oh, this is going. We're like midstream.
Early in my
Do you count that as a
days,
bed, by the way?
If it doesn't touch the sheets, that's not a bed.
All right,
that's
thank
a
you.
pants.
I needed
that's
that.
A pants.
Needed that. Okay,
no, you're talking to a guy.
But does it count as a full pants if it's just a squirt in the underwear as opposed to?
Listen, I'm squirting in my underwear after every.
Okay, so then these don't even count. This is like a dry underwear.
Yeah,
basically.
I would say that doesn't count.
Okay,
I would say that
All
doesn't count.
Not
I'm sure there are
then.
people out there, not nice people, but they would probably count that as a pants piece. Early
bigots.
Early
bigots.
Yeah. Bigots. That's a good name.
A podcast hosted by two white comedians, a stereotype about the blandest ingredients that childhoods didn't prepare them for life. Sexual tension you can cut with a knife. Podcast. Two white comedians. Podcast. Two white comedians.
All right, we're back. Another episode. Everyone's been clamoring for it. As we record this, still have not released a single episode, by the way.
What is this now? 7 or 6? Because we lost one, right?
We didn't lose one. You keep thinking we lost one. We just only have one camera angle
that's
on
right.
one.
That's right.
Yeah, I did have someone. They were like, "Where's this podcast you were talking about with Jess?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, we're like banking them so that we make sure we have enough." And he's like, "All these stuff is going to be like old," and I'm like, we're not doing like news. It's not like we're like, well, Donald Trump put a tariff on Canada, and we're like, oh shit, well now we're at war with Canada. Like I can't believe. No, it's like a bunch of shit that happened to us. That like for us, it'll be outdated for sure.
Yeah,
which is actually kind of beneficial because then we have some plausible deniability when people are like, you were talking shit about my show, and it's like, no, dude, it was totally a different show, not your show.
Is good.
Yeah, I got one fresh, hot off the presses. By the way,
Oh,
because you and I to pull the curtain back a little bit. We keep a list. I keep a list of things that I want to talk about on the podcast, and then we talk about however many we talk about, and then we save the rest for the next episode. So I had last night. I'm going to Spokane as we record this. So I will have been there. I mean, weeks ago when people listen to this. Headlined, crushed, as you know, as you folks, as the great folks of Spokane know. I kept my streak alive of crushing in Spokane. I will say Spokane was a place where you and I think, forged a deeper comedy relationship because so you and I were golfing and I got offered to headline 4th of July weekend, Fan Appreciation Weekend. If you ever see Fan Appreciation Week at a comedy club, it means nobody's coming, so they're giving away free tickets, okay? and that's 4th of July weekend is a bad weekend and we golfed on Downriver Golf Course, I believe it's called. The slowest round of golf I've ever played.
Yeah.
They were letting people out like every 6, they were alternating between 6 and 7 minutes.
Yeah, that was strange. We played with some nice guys, though.
Yeah, nice older guy. If you remember, we were like, we suck, and then the first hole, I like accidentally went over the trees and put a ball on a par 5. I put a ball like 140 out, and then I hit a wedge shot that was like, I was like gonna have a makeable eagle putt, and it hit a sprinkler head, and then I chipped close and birdied the first hole, and then parred the par 3 second hole, and these guys were like, okay, dude. I mean, I hit like a 300+ yard drive.
Yeah.
And I cut the corner of the and then I had like my normal shitty remaining 16 holes.
I think is still my best round.
Oh yeah.
On 18, yeah.
Oh yeah. And that course is funny too because that last hole you have to like go 40 yards up to a postage stamp green.
Yeah. Yeah. There were what was it? Was it groundhogs that were all over the place there?
Is that
you remember that?
Maybe.
Some sort of critter.
Was it there? I thought it was at another place, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so my week is we were going to release this week, and it's just not going to happen because whenever I do weekend or road comedy, I have to like do a bunch of stuff to make sure my family doesn't fall into chaos while I'm gone. And so last night, my wife went out and did a bunch of work for her job, and while I was well, like to catch up, to get ahead because she's not going to be able to do it while she's got the kids alone. And so I'm watching the kids, and we're teaching the youngest about timeout, which she doesn't really understand, but at the very minimum, it just gets her like away from us, or away from me. Are you
just putting her on timeout just to get some time to yourself?
I'm putting her in timeout because she is creating stress she is acting badly. She knows that she's acting badly. Okay. She's aware of what these words mean, and she's intentionally disobeying. She's very young. I'm not like putting her in timeout for 6 hours. I'm not like locking her. It's like a couple minutes until she calms down. But it's, you got to think about the other kid. We have another kid who is, it's creating a problem for her that like I'm telling her sister to stop ripping the coloring piece of paper. And we've been telling her like, you can't like shove her or do whatever. You can't, if a kid at her school was treating her this way, we'd be like, push him and tell the teacher. Get him off of you and tell the teacher. Yeah. But it's her sister, so it's different. So anyways, we're starting to get like a little more obedience. But so last night I'm like, I need to catch up on sleep. I'm finally going to go to bed. We get to where we're about to go to sleep, and my wife is like, there's like 4 squares of toilet paper.
The home?
Inside of our house. We store our toilet paper in the garage.
Gotcha.
So, but she's like, do
you have just a garage full of toilet paper?
Top to bottom toilet paper. Since we started hoarding in 2020 because of an event, and we still haven't run out of our supply. No, we have we go to Costco for all that stuff. So we have whatever's left of a Costco package. But so she's in a circumstance where she needs more toilet paper, I will say, to,
That's gentle.
And grumpy. And she's grumpy. I don't know if you can put those two things together. But, and I was like, okay, well, we were going to watch a show, and I was going to like, she was going to go to sleep. And I was like, well, after you go to sleep, I'll go grab it, which means can't go to sleep then. And then you get up and you go get the toilet paper, and you got a little blood flowing through you, and you got to eat something, and you got to watch a show. And I end up getting to sleep probably like 11:30, which is not that abnormal, but I'm so like behind on sleep recently.
Yeah.
And I'm asleep. I get to bed about 11:30. I'm asleep probably before midnight. Still not too bad.
Still haven't brought toilet paper to your wife.
Toilet paper's in the home. The toilet paper has made it into the home. But about 1 o'clock, wherever she had gone to do her work to get ahead, the place that she ate, I don't know. I'm not going to name the place. She wakes up just emergency vomiting.
Oh,
like sprinting to the toilet, vomiting.
Damn.
And also, by the way, like we have in this world and in this region, I should check this before okay, I think we're good. In this region, we do have like a flu stomachy thing going around.
Yep.
And so my first thought is like, oh shit, if it's that, I got to cancel the whole weekend.
Oh, right.
Because someone's got to take care of these kids. And if she's puking the whole time, and I don't really want my mom to come over to take care of the kids because my mom is old. I don't want her to get this flu. The flu's taking old people out left and right. So I'm like, I don't really want to. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm imagining thousands of dollars and a fun weekend. And also my wife is sick and I'm sympathetic to that.
Right.
And then, so she wakes up and I wake up and she's already in the shower. And I'm like, you're doing it? And she's like, I feel fine. It was just like, she just had to get it out. And then she was good. So it was like food poisoning.
Yeah, that's a quick one though. Usually it lasts for a bit.
I've had food poisoning where I had I suspect it was E. coli. In 2000, I wasn't dating my wife yet, but it was, which is actually important. It was actually right before. No, the reason it's important is because I was trying to get with a woman in Westport, Washington, which is probably not a good choice, no matter what. Sorry, Westport, I love you, but so I got E. coli and I had acidic diarrhea. We're back to it, baby. We can't stop talking diarrhea. It's the diarrhea pod. And I'll shorten the story for I had pooped myself raw down there, and I used to work at a box factory, and we had this bucket of what we called pH adjuster, which is a really gentle way of saying acid in a bucket. And I grabbed I was I needed to do something that would have required me like being in a very unergonomic position for my lower back. So I grabbed this bucket so I could sit on it, had a spout on top, didn't know the lid was off the spout. I set it down, all this liquid acid splashes on the top of the bucket. I sit down with my raw asshole.
Oh.
And we had like a locker room. I just went in and put my face in my hands for like a half hour because it was so painful.
Yeah, holy shit.
But that was like a month after, so E. coli, I was like throwing up or dry heaving every 10 to 15 minutes for 2 straight days.
Wow.
But to get back to my wife, she's all good, goes to work. I wake up with the kids, and I'm bringing the oldest daughter goes down, no problems. Start bringing the youngest daughter down. I had put on a shirt that I like, and I bringing her down, and this kid is pissed out of her, like through her diaper. So I come down and I just have a diaper-shaped spot of piss on my chest. I'm just covered in piss. You get used to this, by the way, as a parent.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't know. I didn't even shower after. I'm like, I'm still, by the way, I got piss residue on me right now. We get down. Everything goes smoothly. We've been having some challenges getting out the door quickly enough, getting my kids to school on time, but we've been cutting it close, and we actually were late. My daughter forgot her backpack. My oldest forgot her backpack yesterday, which is like neurodivergent behavior. Can we start using that, by the way, as like a slur? Is that allowed to be?
It's next.
Yeah, it's got to be. That's always what you do, is you start using the clinical term.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're like literally walking out the door, and I'm like, nah, no way. She hasn't. I mean, I just changed her. There's no way. So I set my daughter in the car seat, and we get, I mean, not a like 3 blocks from here, and she sneezes, and my daughter's like, she had just squirted snot all over her face and body. So I get out, and I got wipes, and I'm wiping her, and then I'm like, oh my God, she definitely shit herself. So I take her out of her car seat. I put her in the back. Luckily, I have a diaper and I have wipes in my car because I'm a prepared father. I set her in back. I wipe her. I fill this diaper with shit, and then you're like, well, I guess we're just like, I gotta go till I get to the next garbage can. So I'm riding with a shitty diaper till we get to the next garbage can. I get her back in her car seat. We go, I mean, not a half a block, and she sneezes and starts the whole process over again. just smothered in snot. And that was how I started my morning. So I'm like tired and worn out by these children. And I feel like, I mean, you know when you feel like maybe I smell bad, maybe I don't. I'm sure if you stuck a nose into my pit, it wouldn't be the best experience. But I'm like, I feel disgusting right now.
Stinky.
Yeah. Was I stinky? Did you notice me being stinky?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a underlying level of stink.
Is that true?
No.
Okay, Jesus. This is something I'm self-conscious about.
So you brought up timeout. I had never experienced timeout until I started going to this. I started going to a daycare in like
2019 or so.
3rd grade. It was recent, but it was the lady that ran it. I ended up becoming best friends with her son. Shout out Alan Mullen if you're out there. I still
what
love
up,
you.
Al?
But she was a Christian lady. I grew up in a Christian household. This was a Christian daycare. And I said crap all the time. And so like every single day I was in timeout and writing. The amount of sentences I've written just like repetitively every like single day. Every single day I was in timeout, which like it was so confusing to me because everywhere else I went, I was allowed to do the things that I was getting punished for on a regular basis. So I stood against so many walls and wrote so many sentences, just crazy. And then I got out, and it was like I never got in trouble for those things anywhere else.
Sure. You didn't learn a lesson. You just learned that some people have different rules.
Also had to show up, and like it was like nap time in the morning at this daycare, and that was like all inclusive. Everybody there had to take a nap. And I'm like, I'm in 3rd grade. I'm basically a grown man at this point. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? You're laying next to kids.
You were on your second divorce by then.
I was, I had been through it.
Were you a bad napper?
Yeah.
I never was a good napper.
I never napped.
I'm better as an adult. I was bad back then.
I can nap, but probably I would say 5 to 10% of them I feel good afterwards. Normally I wake up from a nap confused, I'm angry, because it's I'd never get the timing right, and then it's like you can't control really how long you're gonna sleep other than an alarm. And then if I set an hour alarm to get like a full sleep cycle in, I spend the first half hour to 40 minutes trying to get a sleep. It never works.
They have an app for that where it like detects where you're at in the sleep cycle. So what you do with it, I tried to use it and then I stopped pretty quickly. But what it does is like you're like, I want to wake up by 6 a.m. And then it goes, okay, well, we're going to wake you up at the right spot in your sleep cycle, the last sleep cycle before 6 a.m. Which that's kind of interesting. The problem with it was you had to like, the phone had to be like face down on the bed and charging and have the app open. And it was like, your phone's like 7,000 degrees by the time, it was.
What's it? What do you gotta, is it like a suppository situation?
Yeah, you shove it straight up your asshole.
Like, and how is it?
It detects vibration. It's got to be something to do with your breathing. Because, I have a Fitbit that detects, like, when I'm it's got, like, heart rate, but this wasn't connected to your body. A Fitbit's, like, measuring your heart rate and other stuff.
Yeah.
To get your heart rate. I guess that's the only thing it can really measure, right? But it's measuring that to determine what part of your sleep cycle you're in. Yeah. So it tells you, are you awake or are you in these various sleep cycles?
Gotcha.
Or parts of the sleep cycle.
I'm just imagining like a call center overseas with people watching your camera, like seeing where you're at.
Oh, shit. We have a wake up in Tacoma. Code red. Anyway, yeah. So my daughter got in trouble she used to do this thing. She doesn't really do it that much anymore, but she goes to a religious daycare. We don't, we won't talk about the specifics, but religious daycare, we're not religious. They have rules you would expect from a religious daycare, and we are not people that are like, I have friends that allow their kids to swear.
Yeah.
We're not those parents yet, but my daughter, she hears swearing on TV. There's stuff we don't watch, but most of it is like, we don't want her to have nightmares. So like,
that's
we're not going to watch Law and Order SVU, but it's not because they say, probably like there's some words like I have a joke about it, but like
Law and Order is riddled with stuff I wouldn't want my kids to hear. Of course,
it's like rape and murder,
yeah.
Right? And the which do we have to cut that out of YouTube? I don't know.
Might want to.
Anyway, but yeah, she sees swearing, but she would go like super animated, go, what the heckers? And it just like, it has a tone apparently that they were taking as it was like, as though she was saying what the fuck. And for us, it was just funny. Like she would do it like to make us laugh.
Yeah.
And so she started doing it at daycare and they're like, you can't say that at daycare anymore. And I'm like, oh, it's not even like in the vicinity of a swear word.
And also not a word at all. Heckers?
Well, it's heck. It's what the heck, but it's extended because it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, I suppose.
She's doing a bit.
What a fuckorama, I guess, would still count as a swear.
Well, but yeah, it's an extension of a word that replaces a quasi-swear word in hell, but hell is like arguably not a swear word. You may not want a 5-year-old running around saying what the hell. I get that. I don't know I don't care how you raise your kids.
I don't think they even believe in hell, do they?
I thought we were not giving specifics. Jesus Christ, this guy's trying to dox my daughter? Holy shit. The Muslims don't believe in hell, I guess. I don't know.
There are I think various groups that don't believe in hell.
Yes, certainly, and they all have daycare centers in Tacoma. Anyway, that was a stressful morning. What do you got? What happened? What's happened to you?
I had not necessarily on the road, but I had a line of various weekend gigs, none of which had to do with each other. It was just a string of gigs, and I was at the Chalet Theater on Friday, opening for Andrew Rivers. Funny guy, nice guy, very generous man. And you've been to Chalet several times, right? We've both been to Chalet many times. Typically a rowdy crowd. Mm-hmm. They're a rowdy group. They like to start drinking in the morning, it seems like, and then show up to the show just already hammered.
The show is almost always delayed because people have gotten into the beer line for a second time.
Yeah.
It's by far the drunkest theater show
ever.
Absolutely. Because theater shows most typically are pretty well behaved. These are theater people.
Yeah.
In Enumclaw, Washington, where the most famous story is about a man fucking a horse, or I guess being fucked by a horse.
Yep.
These are not theater folks.
No. It's
and I love them for that, by the way. I love performing in Enumclaw.
It's like they took over a theater that they're not supposed to be at.
Yeah. It's like it feels post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, now this is a shelter, and one of our captors. That's. Anyways, one of our fucking people we captured, we're forcing him to perform stand-up comedy.
They're the captain now. So I love the room. I always have fun in that room. They're rowdy and they're a good time. They're kind of down for whatever. But this was, I think I've been there. This was maybe my 6th or 7th time there. I don't know. But by far the rowdiest I've seen them.
Okay.
And I'm always prepared for it when I go there, but this was crazy. John Gardner, it was me and John Gardner splitting opening spots, so we were each doing 20, and then Rivers headlining. So he kind of did the host spot and then, host feature set. And immediately there are people chirping everything he says. They got some stupid thing, never worth it. Nobody's getting laughs out in the audience, you know what I mean? But they're just drunk and yelling shit. And so I go out there and I see immediately there's 2 women directly in front of me, front row, just right dead center. One of them is passing out.
Wow.
Slumped over, kind of barely staying awake. Her friend is there kind of, also drunk, but less so, kind of tending to her. And I have a joke that references peed pants. I'm not going to do the bit, but
do the whole bit, start to finish.
I compare depression to peeing your pants, and I reference the lady because I talk about how to dry peed pants in a pinch, and I said you're going to need that later. Sure enough, this fucking lady at some point during or after the show did pee her pants. We are out selling merch, and Rivers got held up with those 2 women, and so I go back in.
You made the mistake of coming out through the theater and not around the theater.
Well, yeah, so we're selling our merch outside on the sidewalk, which is the move there, because it's close quarters at the Chalet. You got to put your merch table outside if weather permitting, but
even if it's not.
Yes.
You got to find a way.
I sold significantly more merch that night than I ever have there. Fun night, but I go back inside. I'm loading up my camera and stuff like that, and then Rivers comes in. He's just like, holy shit. And then she was just talking to him with peed pants. She wasn't in a hurry to go.
She was like, oh my God, I wish I didn't. I got to go, but I peed my pants.
I don't even know if she knew she peed her pants. And then the guy that runs the place, I don't think he's the owner. I don't know if he's
Charles?
the owner. Yeah. Is he the owner? He is the owner. So he's
Charles is the man.
He's so great.
Yeah.
He's so I love walking into a place like that, and the bouncers, the owner, everybody knows you by name already because you've been there so many times. I love being a regular anywhere. Being a regular at a bar, what a treat. But
yeah, it's a little different at a bar.
Well,
oftentimes it signifies a problem at a bar.
Yeah,
I say this as someone who has been a bar regular for the wrong reasons.
But if you have that problem, I don't think you're really caring so much about the problem if you're regular at the bar. Anyway, so he's like, shit, where was she sitting? Because he's worried about these theater seats. They're not, you got to shampoo a theater seat. They're all cushiony. They're locked in. You can't move them around. You know what I mean? So he's like, oh, fuck. Where was she sitting? When did this piss happen? Because she clearly either doesn't know about it or is just, this is a regular occurrence for this gal, just wandering around. But it was such a fun experience to have kind of prophesized something like that.
I had a stretch somewhat recently where I would wake up like a 1/8 of a piss into. I'd like wake up having to pee, but it was like it had started 2.5 seconds before I woke up.
Seeping.
It was like, oh baby, we gotta get moving, and I'm gonna change my underwear. Like which is, I think it's like there was a stretch semi recently where I was drinking more than. I mean, I don't drink like that. I mean, I drink. I guess it depends on how you. I drink upwards of 10 drinks a week. It's probably my average, and so this was exceeding that.
Okay, yeah.
Let's call it 15 or 18 or 20 drinks in the weeks for a couple weeks. Like, end of the year holidays, you're always drinking a lot more because it's festive, and let's pretend that's the reason why. And it was definitely during that time and not just for a random, late January. But yeah, it was like a stretch where it'd be like, if I drank, it was just an A to B. Didn't drink, no problems. Yeah. Did drink, it was like I was sleeping harder or something, or peeing easier, and I would just wake up and I'd be like, "Oh shit, this is going." We're like midstream.
Early in my,
do you count that as a bed piss, by the way?
If it doesn't touch the sheets, that's not a bed piss.
All right,
that's
thank you.
Pants.
I needed that.
Pants piss.
I needed that. Okay,
you're talking to a guy,
but. Does it count as a full pants piss if it's just a squirt in the underwear as opposed to?
Listen, I'm squirting in my underwear after every piss.
Okay, so then these don't even count. This is like a dry underwear.
Yeah,
basically.
I would say that doesn't count.
Okay,
I would say that doesn't count. I'm sure there are people out there, not nice people, but they would probably count that as a pants piss. Early
bigots.
Early
piss bigots.
Yeah, piss bigots. That's a good name. No, early in my partying days, I was like 16 years old, blackout drunk every weekend, and I had not figured out that I didn't care. I wasn't thinking about going to the bathroom before I passed out. You know what I mean? And oftentimes I would wake up the next morning having fully pissed myself, just like full release piss on chairs, on floors. I've woken up on bathroom floors in a puddle of my own urine. I eventually figured it out. I became more responsible with my peeing leading up to probably falling asleep.
Sure.
But yeah, buddy.
I had a thing happen that I found out was semi-hereditary when I was in high school, or 21 and over, depending on where you live. I went to this guy. I worked at a fast food restaurant, and the assistant manager had like just rented out a house from like his stepdad that his stepdad owned, and so he got like a good deal. So it's like he's doing the like kind of play. Remember when people would get their first apartment and they like play house kind of? I met a lot of guys do that when they like, especially like young, I would say like working class dudes. They'll get like their first apartment with their girlfriend, and they're like, "Oh, well, I gotta go home to the old ball and chain," like that kind of thing. Yeah. So he gets his first house, and he's like really, trying to make a house a home, even though it's like a dingy place that his stepdad happens to own. That he's gonna, he's like planting plants in a yard that's not his, that kind of shit. Anyways, he also had like a place where we could drink. He's 18, he's 18 years old. Yeah. We come across, as you buy the cheapest beer you can so you can get the most possible. We get Natural Light. Woo. He's Natty Light, Natty Ice. I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask if it was light or ice, because the ice is that's like a utility beer.
Yeah. Yes.
Do they still make ice beers?
I bet you they make Natty Ice. It's always, but like Bud Ice has to be gone.
Yeah. I guess I haven't been on the hunt for something like that.
I think Natty might have the remaining market share for ice beer.
Gotcha.
But and by the way, I'm going to tell you a story that I'm going to say it through my lens, but it's a story that, like, even though I stand by my version of it, there's no way you can tell the story and not come off looking like an asshole. So we're drinking, and I've got like a much higher tolerance than this guy already at this, whatever, I was definitely 21 and over, this age that we were at. And I'm, on like, but I'm like pushing it. I'm on like beer number 8, and he's like choking down number 2. And his girlfriend comes over, and again, they're like playing house. So she's like, your drunk friend is over? And it's like, yeah, we're fucking 18. Or I'm, 21 and over. He's 21 and over. But just recently, just negative 3 years past being 21. And,
you seem really concerned about giving up drinking underage.
I'm thinking about all the children watching this that might be influenced to act cool, like this thing that I'm going to tell, this really cool story where I acted so
cool.
Go
to bed, do your homework.
So she comes over and she's like, he can't drink anymore. And my buddy's like, he bought the beer, like you can't, And she's like, nope, he can't drink anymore. And she starts pouring out the remaining beer in the sink, and I go over and I grab it out of her hand and just start drinking it.
Yeah.
And so she took that as like an act of violence, me grabbing it. And, maybe I bumped into her a little bit, but then, so
maybe I shoved her across
No,
the
I
room.
certainly didn't do that. Like she was very, my memory of her, and I couldn't pick her out of a lineup today. I was hammered at the moment.
Yeah.
But my memory was that she was very dramatic in that moment. So then we all, we like still had other beers, so we keep drinking after she leaves, and eventually we go to sleep, and then my friend wakes up, and the story he tells is he wakes up and I am pissing directly onto his TV. And apparently my dad, at a time when my parents were still married, would occasionally wake up and think he was peeing in a urinal and would just be peeing into his walk-in closet.
Oh,
and so this is apparently a thing that runs in my family is peeing. And then I supposedly from one of my less scrupulous friends, he said that I did this at his house also. Less believable there, I will say.
Okay.
This TV functioned fine afterwards. I felt very bad about it. I will say also I got dropped off at my parents were divorced by this point.
Because of all the peeing.
Yeah, probably the peeing probably didn't help. I got dropped off with literally like I was coming home from daycare and I had pissed my pants. Like I literally had my pants in a bag. My pissed, like, because I'm like pissing on the TV. It's coming back on me. There's a lot of piss has made it, and I threw up too, I think. So
did you have a change of clothes?
No, I borrowed from this guy. Okay, so I came home in other clothes. With a plastic bag, like I'm coming home from daycare.
That is such a early sleepover story.
Yeah, but I was 18 or 17 when it happened.
Yeah,
and my mom didn't even say anything. She's like, "Oh, all right, see you in a little bit," or how was it? Like no.
Wow.
And there was times when she caught me. Like the last couple times I smoked weed, she would be like, she's like a bloodhound for that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's sometimes with drinking I could just be like the most fucked up and come home and be like, well, this is the time I get caught. There's no way. And she just wouldn't notice. Or maybe she did. Maybe she knew more than she let on and was like trying to figure out where the battles to pick. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom definitely had that crazy mother's intuition where you do everything you can, you got your story locked down, you know what I mean, you make sure you don't smell or whatever, and she just knew every time. There was a time though, this is one of my favorite later stories in her life. So she was had cancer and was on all
Doesn't have it anymore?
No, she's cured of cancer.
Okay, good.
Fully cured. No, but she was it was pretty late in her life, and so she would be on meds that had her all hopped up. And there was a night where I can't remember if I came home high or I smoked in the bedroom. I would smoke in my bedroom. Our bedrooms were both shared the same exterior wall. It's middle of summer. I'd be smoking, blowing smoke out of my window, and it would just be going right back
window
into
open.
her. Yeah. But I came out into the living room, or came to the living room from either outside or from out in my bedroom, and she's all high on her drugs, and I was high on weed, and we had the night of a lifetime. It was just, we had such good conversations. It was so much fun. And then she's
not much of a conversation.
She was cured of cancer, to say.
I will say those like first. I'm already looking forward to when I can sit down and have like a beer with my kids, like, or whatever, a drink of some kind. But like, because I think that we're trying to show them a healthy relationship with alcohol, which is they know that we drink, they know what beer is, they know it has alcohol in it, they know it's for adults, they know it's not for them. They see us drink, but they never see us drunk, and they never see us drive drunk. Yeah. Like we'll go to a place, I'll have a beer with dinner, my wife will have a drink, whatever, and we'll drive. But like they're seeing us consume alcohol in a responsible way.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is important, as opposed to like, I mean, I've got members of my family who they'd be like hammered at a bar calling their kids to pick them up from the bar or whatever, man. And it's like that's
rough.
Yeah, so like I mean, I'm trying to give them, because we got problems. Like I have alcoholism ripping through my family.
Same.
So it's important for me, and it's also like I'm constantly monitoring my own alcohol consumption because of that, because I'm like, is this the moment that the switch flips and I can't stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I haven't hit that moment yet. I think I've told you before, but I had the like drive. I called it the demon, where it would be like, or I call it the demon, which is where you'd be like at a bar and you'd be like, just always want one more.
Yes.
Got to have one more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I totally get that people, I'd be like, it'd be too late. And I'd go, and it was like a craft beer bottle shop, like not a place where a typical alcoholic is hanging out. But I'd go like that. You could get a can of this relatively low alcohol. I just wanted the ritual to continue, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I'd go get like a low alcohol pale ale and have one more, and then maybe one more, and then my wife drinks much slower, so I drink like 3 to her 1, and so I'd be like, well, she's got 2/3 of a beer, I gotta have another beer. And then we did Whole30, which is where you cut like all allergens out of your and dude, it's like since then I'm never like motivated to drink. It's always taste related, not intoxication related.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely have lived that life of like not being able to just stop. And then I quit for I think like 3 months, and coming back I've been able to like, this is the right amount. I'll leave some for tomorrow, rather than just like I have a 6-pack, which is a serving of beer, and drink until there's nothing left. But it's
you've done Louisville, right? Louisville Comedy Club?
No, still have not.
I don't know if he's still there, but I went there like within the first 6 months of them opening. And they're right on Whiskey Row in Louisville, and it's like right across from the Old Forester Distillery and real close to the Rabbit Hole Distillery, which is both those distilleries I like a lot. And I especially, got to go tour the Old Forester one a little bit, which is pretty nice. But I was talking to the bartender there, and he's like, obviously a big whiskey aficionado, and we're talking about his favorite cocktails and his favorite whiskeys, and I was like, well, what's your like favorite whiskey that you have at home? And he's like, oh, I don't keep whiskey at home. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you like, are you like sober? And he's like, I'm not sober, but I do have that thing where if I have it in my house, I'm going to drink 100% of it. Anything that's, and it's like, oh, well, that's like classic alcoholism.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything more you have on your show?
Let me see. I thought I had some other stuff. What do we got here? We got a new bed.
Oh yeah,
recently. Shout out Helix. I
use promo code Unseasoned.
We'd love a sponsor.
To get no discount and to have the promo code rejected.
No, I've never been able to spend this amount of money on a bed. I won't say how much I spent, but it was like a chunk, because I'm like, I'm on this thing all the time, you know what I mean? It's gonna last me a long time. I have the extra money, let's just spend the money. I got a nice bed frame, Tuma, shout out Tuma, Love to have you as a sponsor.
I mean, I'm sure these things are impossible to price out to tell how much they are. There's no way we could possibly. Folks, this information's not available. Don't even try.
If you
don't even try to find this information.
If you care enough to dig into it, whatever. Well worth it, though. Well worth it.
All right.
I've slept in beds that were this comfortable. And it's one of those things where, like, you don't even know what's available until you get into a bed and you're just like, holy shit. I had no idea. But this fucking bed, man.
Helix's memory foam?
It's what I think they do. What mine is a combo. So it's like memory foam on top of spring. But it's just so inviting, and it's so hard to get out of. We got like full, because we like bumped up in size. We were on a full mattress for a long time. Wow. And the mattress I had before.
You gotta be skinny people to be on a full mattress.
We're not big people, but this bed that I had previous to our new one, it was a full, but like inches shorter than the full I had before that one. So every night my feet were like hanging. It was like a cartoon where your feet are hanging off the end of the bed. It was shorter. It was narrower. So now we have this. I got room below my feet. I can really scunch down,
Sure.
Still have room. We got room between us. It's just so fucking hard to get out of in the morning. It's so comfortable.
I'm going to tell you a story that we may edit out. It's potentially not a story that folks that I care about their opinion are going to want to. So, I don't think it's too bad. There used to be a time when you would do Spokane Comedy Club where you would stay at the owner's house if you were one of the openers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not everybody would, but it was like people that they knew and trusted would stay at their house. And so one time I brought my wife, and they knew and trusted us so much that they weren't even at the home.
Oh.
So they have like a code on their front. It was like how you get into an Airbnb where you like put the code in, whatever. And so I didn't know they weren't going to be home. And then they just like email you instructions of like, this is the room that you're staying in, whatever. So we go down, my wife and I, and we went in the wrong bedroom. We didn't know, but we went in the wrong bedroom. We slept in it for one night. And it was, I don't even know what to search for. I've tried to figure this out. I think they call them like family beds, but they're like bigger than a king.
Oh.
Because we have a king now, and it's nice. I can't imagine not having a king. This was long enough that I could put I tried this because I was like blown away by how big this bed was. I could put my toes hanging off one end, put the entire length of my body, arms completely stretched out, and not be touching my wife where she was laying. So not reach the end. Like I couldn't reach her and so that was like a revelation because you were like, it was like having your own bed and also sharing a bed with your partner at the same time.
That's
it was
incredible.
amazing. And so from that moment on, I decided that we had to get a king at least. I mean, family bed's crazy. You got to get like custom frames and stuff. Like it starts to be, you get into Jess Everett territory, how much you're spending on this bed. But do you remember the first time you slept on a memory foam mattress?
Yeah, I think the first time was the last bed that I bought.
Okay.
Was a memory
So you
foam.
you bought it without having slept on a memory foam mattress prior.
Correct.
It's a lot of trust,
Correct.
I think.
Yeah.
I
had used memory foam insoles, so I had some experience with memory foam.
He actually stacked a bunch of used ones up and slept on them one time.
Shout out Dr. Scholes if you ever
Use the promo code Unseasoned if you want $750 that you can stuff into a bag to use as a mattress. In the days before I was dating my wife, I spent the night at a young lady's home. Ooh. No hanky panky, I will say that, but I slept in her bed, memory foam mattress.
Yeah.
Woke up. I suffer from lower back pain. I have for many years since, just right out of high school, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
I've had lower back pain since then. First time I remember feeling relief from lower back pain was a night sleeping on this memory foam mattress. From then on, I was like, I'm Tempur-Pedic. I'm getting a Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting like a $700 Costco memory foam mattress instead. And then we ended up getting another one, a king size, for when we moved into this house. Because, dude, one, my foam will always remember. I'm not going back to the non-memory foam. We're not going to Springs. I still have back pain, but it's like significantly reduced from when I was on a spring mattress.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Not a funny story, but I did fill time.
Yeah, if you haven't had one, get one. Try it out. I will say, going from a full memory foam mattress to a mattress with springs. How can I? Sex.
You fuck better? Is that what
sex in a full memory foam mattress is like running on sand. You don't get any assistance.
Sure.
It's just soaking up. It's remembering everything you're doing.
Training.
Yeah. Getting some springs in there though.
Do you think that's why they implemented the hybrid? Because people were constantly like their cardio wasn't
I'm sleeping well, but by God,
sure.
I'm not. Yeah, it's wow.
All right.
It's like having somebody else there. Like what's
that's usually the way sex occurs.
What's that thing? No, like a helper. What's the thing? Was it the
soaking?
Mormons do?
Why is everyone talking
where
about
they
soaking now?
But they like have somebody under the bed.
Yes. I keep saying the thing.
Right. But soaking is its own thing. There's an added element that they've been doing. I've never seen.
Hold on, Jess. We're going to pull up soaking. I think
you can soak without this, though. You can soak without a person under the bed shaking the bed around.
I think that you go ahead. You keep talking. I'm going to pull up the Urban Dictionary definition. The only dictionary I care about is the Urban Dictionary.
No, it's like having a guy under the bed, like giving back.
Soaking. I'm reading it without. By the way, I'm reading it without having. I'm reading it live for the first time.
Okay.
Because I don't know if this is going to actually include my vindication. Some Mormon teens have convinced themselves that putting a penis in a vagina and then not moving is not sex. That's called soaking. Now, the Jumpman, which is amazing. That's
Jumpman.
That's the Michael Jordan's brand, by the way. Now, the Jumpman is the person who will jump on the bed next to you soaking to get some friction going without you technically moving. So this is, I would say this is not, I think you might be right. Is ultimately what
yeah. Can you? What if you were a you never got to soak, but you were like an incredible jump man, like good rhythm, you know?
It's like being a great point guard.
You knew when to speed up and slow down.
He didn't score a lot of points, but leads the league in assists.
You could make the guy last longer.
Unironically, the John Stockton who played for the Salt Lake City or for the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City in Mormon Mecca. Wow, we really did it. I will say, is there anything, does anybody put less effort into bed comfort than Airbnb hosts?
Yeah, they're putting all their effort in the cameras.
First off, Airbnb, you can't get a king size mattress almost none of them have them, and then it's like the softest. My back, hotels, wonderful, I could sleep in a hotel bed, no problem. But that's what they're known for. That's the bread and butter of a hotel. Yeah. The Airbnb, they're like, well, we have a kitchen that got one toaster oven and a hot plate.
Yeah.
And now you have a bed that you can't sleep in and your back hurts.
Yeah. You ever have a hotel room that's sharing a wall with people that are having just a great time?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I also, one time I was in Montana at our mutual friend Alex Kaufman. I was supposed to stay at his house. And he had just moved into this townhouse, but he hadn't furnished it yet. He had like a crazy roommate. So basically, he started renting this. I was doing comedy over there, and he's like, you got the whole townhouse to yourself? Well, there was no bed. So he gave me an air mattress, and then he's like, and there's sheets up there. It was 2 fitted sheets. and it was Montana in like October in a home that was unfurnished, that it's not like he had set up the thermostat to be comfortable. And it was probably set up for the previous tenants who had a bed and a comforter and a normal sleeping situation.
Right.
So I'm like, I have altitude sickness. I'm freezing cold.
Yeah.
And the only thing I have to warm me up are 2 fitted sheets that I'm trying to configure in the warmest way possible. And I slept there for 2 nights. My back is killing me. I got a headache from alcohol and altitude sickness and, this fucking being cold all night. And I was supposed to be there for 4 nights. By the 3rd night, I was like, dude, I'm buying a hotel. Like, whatever. I know I'm not going to make any money on the next 2 gigs, but I can't do this.
Yeah.
First night, dude, I slept like 14 hours. It was great. Whew. The next night, we get done with the show, and I get back, and I have to fly out the next morning, and I'm all, keyed up. And then the people next door are watching like Law and Order SVU, not having the time that you're talking about, but just at like 75 volume. And I knock on them, but they're like fully asleep. So I'm like knocking on. And this is like also, by the way, I'm like not trying to call. I should have just called. I should have not been a pussy, but I'm like, it's like a kind of shitty motel in Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah.
I was trying not to be a hassle. I should have just had some self-worth, but I had also just taken a comedy gig where I was sleeping on an air mattress. I wasn't brimming with self-worth at the moment. Anyways.
Yeah. I was just recently in a hotel. I think this was in Idaho, Post Falls, Idaho, and I came
where we've shared a hotel room.
Yeah, and I came home from the gig, and golly, it was like they were taping a porn next to me, just hooting and hollering, just wild. It was
that's a big meth town, right? Seems like it anyway.
Think so. It seems, yeah.
Meth's a big sex drug for some people, isn't it?
I don't understand that. I've heard that it makes people have lots and lots of sex. I can't imagine even thinking about sex on meth. I had
Jess has done meth, folks.
I've done quite a bit of meth, and there was never a time that I got even the least bit aroused on meth.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what that is chemically, like the distinction, between the people that can and the people that can't. As much fun as meth can be, it seems like that would be a pretty good time.
Sure.
Lots of energy. Mm-hmm. Oh boy. But yeah, that was not my experience.
Okay. Last thing I want to talk about because we're almost done. We're running out of daylight here. You ever see the TV show The Bear?
Yeah.
We started watching The Bear. We finished it. We're all the way caught up. I didn't want to talk about it on here until we were all the way caught up. It's I've talked to multiple people about it who have said like it gave them PTSD for working in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is interesting because I guess I'm just like, maybe I'm just too stupid to have like to really make a connection with the show and my own emotions. Because I've also had people when I'm like, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. They're like, dude, it gives me anxiety, and I'm like, it's a comedy. But it's because he's constantly creating these cringy moments, and it gives people anxiety. And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't give a shit about that. Like, it's obviously fiction. It's like the same thing I tell my daughter when she sees something scary on a show is like, no, this is fake.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's 5, so it's
right.
But I shouldn't be able to convince a 31-year-old that it's not too cringy to watch. It's also like, by the way, when people, I don't know if you've had this experience, because I worked like graveyard shift at a box factory when the last run of great sitcoms was happening, like The Office and Community and Parks and Rec. I think I was like I watched a little bit of The Office and then none of those other shows. And I always was like, The Office is like good. It's like Seinfeld, where it's like kind of a milquetoast, really well written, but like nothing super offensive, just incredibly well written show.
Yeah.
And then I was in a meeting with my boss at a couple years ago, and she's like, I love The Office, but don't tell anyone because you could not make that show today. And I was like, what? And she's like, I mean, it's too problematic. And this is a couple of years ago, so a more sensitive time. Mm-hmm. But I was like, at the time The Office came out, that was the least offensive thing I watched on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is so much more offensive. Family Guy is so much more offensive.
Right.
I never really have been a big South Park guy, but like South Park is way more offensive.
Yeah.
It was like, to me, it was like, The Office was just like, it's good. It's very good. But it was like good in the way that like Frasier was good, where it's just like, this is an inventory of shows that I almost don't have to watch in any order. They're all good, but nothing is like blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And then by the way, I've since watched it, and I take that back. I think it's a really great show, The Office. But also, anyways, so the Bear, I got none of that. My only time working in a restaurant, though, I will say, is the most stressful job I've ever had.
Yeah.
For the least amount of money. I worked at Taco Time, which is not like fine dining, but it's still like, it's fast paced.
Yeah.
They want to be like slightly upscale fast food, so you're taking food to people instead of them calling out a number or whatever. Like, they're doing a little. My boss, I think I might have said this on the podcast. If I did, I'm sorry. I got a review, my first performance review, and she's like, your work is great, but sometimes I can see your boxers sticking out of your pants. So I need you to fix that.
That's for Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Don't bring that into Taco Time.
We're going to delay your raise. If you could fix that, 30 days from now, you can have a 25-cent raise. And I was like, all right. And
you could have fixed that in that conversation.
Well, but I needed to show continued good behavior.
My.
So I at the time, minimum wage was $7.16.
Yep.
30 days from then, I got a raise to $7.41.
Climbing that ladder.
Days later, I mean, within less than 72 hours, minimum wage raised from $7.16 to $7.40. So I get a 1 cent raise.
Buddy. Yeah, people shit on fast food workers like, oh, they shouldn't make any money. It's one of the most stressful jobs I've ever had is fast food. And then it's like not just it's a constant sense of urgency because you're just scrambling to get this food out, but then also you're like doing that and doing customer service at the same time. So you're like the most stressed you could be and having to be like nice and professional to people. It's just, and then they're treating you like shit because you work at a fast food restaurant. It's just a big storm of a stressful situation.
So I like The Bear. I think it's very good. Which, if you're not familiar, folks, go check it out. It's a good show. What I will say is, it's 10 episodes, 8 episodes per season. I think like there's like 4 full episodes worth of footage that is just like angry, fast-paced prep. Yeah. Just like, it's like dicing onions there's like 4 hours of dicing onions every season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, they wrote enough words for a script for like 4 episodes, and they're like, we got to fill the rest in with really angry B-roll of some the chef screaming fucking everybody, or glasses dropping. There's a lot of like montages and B-roll and prep, like I'm saying.
Well, and they also cram a lot of dialogue into one scene where it's like people talking over each other. It's a lot. I like to keep track of that as an actor, like to keep your lines in your head, but then it's just like everybody's talking over each other and stuff like that. Very stressful. I can, though, you brought up the PTSD thing. I still sometimes can hear a ticket printer printing out tickets in a hectic mode, just like d like constant. That's
from a restaurant.
Yeah.
So that feeling of that, like PTSD, where you wake up and you're like sweaty and you're like, you feel like overwhelmed. That, remember in an earlier episode we talked about me refereeing basketball and coming home. I don't know how much of this I actually said. I would come home from basketball in particular because it's indoors. You're under fluorescent lights. You're running up and down the court. It's the loudest environment because it's enclosed. Because I refereed soccer and umpired baseball, but this is enclosed in a small gym. And
lots of squeaking,
and dude, I would come home and I just like couldn't sleep for like 4 hours. It was like when you first start comedy and you have a good set or a bad set, whatever it is. Yeah. But you get home and you just devote 100% of your mental energy to that and not to going to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. And that's, I would say, refereeing. I think that working at a fast food restaurant in the moment for the amount of money, dollar for dollar, was the most stressful job I ever had. But refereeing basketball, and I'm not talking like high school state championship. I'm talking like 3rd graders basketball. And the parents are still so intense and the coaches are still so intense. And the kids are like, there will be like 2 kids who are good and then they're like, then there will be like 3 kids who are violent, and then 5 kids who are just the victims of both those things on the court. But the bear, I mean, it's great. It's it is so funny to me how much we like lionize chefs in our society.
Yeah.
And there's a thing that I heard a long time ago that I think is I'm not like the first one to break this, but it's like the Romans, when they were about to fall, they started having like celebrity chefs and all that stuff, and you're like, oh fuck, is that what's happening? Are we contributing to? Yeah, it does make you want to cook more. I will say that.
Yeah, it does give you an appreciation for like good food.
Yeah,
and just preparing food in a nice way.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it. We got to figure out where to put plugs in this goddamn show. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.